Hi, my name is Kaylee Bodin, and the topic I chose today was how COVID-19 affected our mental health. So, we all know what COVID-19 is, and we also know what quarantine was. But what I'm wondering is, did you notice did you notice any change in your mental health during the duration of COVID-19? I'm hoping this speech may bring some comfort to the people that did notice a change, that bring comfort that you're not the only one. And for the people that didn't, I am hoping to educate you on how some of your peers may be still affected to this day. Now, we knew nothing about. Now, this all started out with us not knowing anything about this virus, and then not knowing anything caused us to go into a 3-year quarantine. And then that 3-year quarantine threw us back into a quote unquote normal life. A normal, what we didn't consider normal anymore, but we had to accept as normal. Now, when I look back on the beginning of COVID, in the beginning of COVID and in the middle of quarantine, it brings up a word that I learned in one of my psych classes, which is introspection. Introspection, in short, means to deep dive into your own brain, to really kind of like meditating, to focus on your emotions. But really, quarantine forced us to do that. And it forced me to do that. And I didn't know I was doing it, but I know learning that when I learned that word, it was a very eye-opening thing, because I know that is what happened to me and a lot of us. So not knowing about something and then coming face to face with it can be very, very overwhelming. We knew nothing about this illness and this virus, and we didn't know what it would do to us and our loved ones, and that caused a lot of fear and anxiety. It caused a lot of fear and anxiety, and all these emotions affects us a lot today. When you think back to the beginning of quarantine, do you feel a sense of fear, a sense of dread? Because if you do, that is very valid, because it brought on a lot of it, and thinking back on that can bring up a lot of the negative emotions we felt back then. Now, COVID-19 didn't only have a beginning, it also had what we love to call quarantine. The quarantine, or the 3-year quarantine. In some of the articles I've read on this topic, people's most common symptoms were insomnia, loneliness, and depression. And a lot of these people turned towards drugs and alcohol to deal with these emotions. And that did not help whatsoever, because if you think to a lot of people are stuck with this addiction, trying to live the normal life we were thrown back into. And people were using these coping mechanisms because sleeping began to feel like a chore to us, and doing our favorite things, like our favorite hobbies and watching our favorite shows, became repetitive. And that caused us to feel a lot of hopelessness, and that we felt like there may never be a normal again. And that definitely caused a lot of depression, a lot of unmotivation, and just mentally debilitating feelings. But eventually there was a normal. Not a normal we were used to, but a normal. Once quarantine finally lifted, I remember being pretty happy that it did, that I could finally go out and see my friends again, but I was also terrified. We all just spent what was supposed to be 6 weeks, which turned into 3 years in our homes. Our social skills at that point out the window. And people were now struggling with loneliness in a crowded room. It was very hard for a lot of people to get back to their normal life and interacting with others. We became extremely self-conscious and didn't really know how to act around others, because we were alone for so long, or we were around the same people for so long. So a lot of us just shut ourselves out. To this day, we still shut ourselves out and avoid social interaction altogether. which caused severe social anxiety and depression. These points I brought up, all these points I brought up today can cause extreme mentally debilitating emotions that could or do have lasting effects. We knew nothing about this illness that inevitably put us into a 3-year quarantine that we were not expecting. And then this 3-year quarantine caused many of us to lose our social life and knowledge on how to get it back when we were thrown back into this normal life. My main reason for picking this topic is to educate others on how a lot of the population felt during the still ongoing phase of life. And also to show others that they're not alone, and that a lot of people are still struggling today. For what it's worth, I myself am, like I said many times in this speech, I myself am still very much struggling with the effects of COVID-19. And if you are not alone. Like I said many times, you are not alone in these feelings and these emotions. And soon, I believe that we will find our middle ground again. Thank you for listening.